Good morning, friends and fellow RC addicts. How's your day? Alright, it's a good morning. The sun is out. I'm looking at my curtains. And what do I have to talk about today with you? Well, let's see what I have on my table. Alright. I like this. Today, let me talk about F1. It's my favorite racing class if we're going to talk about electric. Let's take a closer look. Wow. All right. I think it's clear why lots of people like F1. It's for the scale realism, and in the real world, F1 is the ultimate racing class. And so, yeah. Right, so why do I like F1? It's scale looking. I like scale looking. I'm a fan of F1, the full scale. It's also very cheap. If you're going to join a racing class, this is cheap in the sense that tires last a long time. The parts do not wear out. Less maintenance, and focus is on driving skill. And I like that, I like a racing where it's about driving skill more than how much money you can spend on tires, on rebuilding your kits, which is I don't have time for that. I want to race, not sit 8 hours fixing the car like touring cars. Boo. And it is because look at that, look at those things behind. With F1, when I race F1, I don't collect participation medals. I collect nice looking ornaments. Alright, so maybe let me walk back through my has-been days. Let me just try to remember the days when I could drive an RC car. Okay, I want to know. Let me just see this. Okay, so this one. So 2008. All right, these are the three main events in my country. This is the North Luzon tournament, where it's held every 3 years. So this is rare, For someone to win the F1 again, they have to wait another 3 years to beat me. This one is the Futaba Cup. All right, so it's also an annual event sponsored by the radio control maker Futaba. And I think, yes, I won this as well against tough competition in all disciplines. And then this one is this end of the year race, and I won it as well. So 2008, I believe I won all the significant big F1 races in my country. And I think that was the peak of F1 in my area around 2008 to 2009. That was really F1. Okay. And then the next year, I joined the Tamiya Cup, where there's an F1 class. It's a series of races. I don't think I lost any of those. 2009, I think I swept the F1 class. I used this car. And then we go, I think after 2009, I think F1 died. But then 2011, Tamiya Cup, or maybe I took a break in 2010. I can't remember. Give others a chance. I'm just kidding, guys. I'm just kidding. I'm having fun. I'm just reminiscing of the days when I was winning. It's, I miss the feeling so much. All right, so this is the champion, 2011. Okay. And what's nice about winning Tamiya Cup in my country is they sponsor the winner to go to the Asia Cup. So in the Asia Cup, I would compete against other Asian countries, around 8 of them: Singapore, Hong Kong, Thailand, Indonesia, China, Taiwan, Lebanon before. So it's exciting. All expense paid. I get to travel. Hotel is paid for. Food is paid for. And then I just go there and enjoy racing inside the mall where there are lots of people watching. So that's pretty exciting. That's why I like to race Tamiya Cup. So this one, 2011, I'm the Philippine champion. And then I went to Singapore to compete in the Asia Cup. And look at that. It says the first loser, second. If I won that class, I would have been sponsored to go to Japan to compete in the Worlds. I could have won that class. I knew I should have won that class, that event. But it is what it is, Yeah, I will not go into that, but I know I was the best. The thing is, in this F1 class in Singapore is significant. This was probably the toughest F1 class field ever in Tamiya Cup. Past champions were not allowed to join any other class except the F1 class. And so in the F1 class, there were about 6 past champions, past Asia champions, who were sent to Japan to compete for the Worlds. And so they were there, and I beat them all except for one. Except for one. And that, but that guy is pretty good. So that guy nowadays is making the A main in modified touring car pro racing. All right? Pro racing. So he's at a very high level. Okay? So I don't feel so bad losing to that person, but I actually outqualified him. Oh, well. All right, so let's get back to the cars, okay? So if you want to just get started, if you have a big parking lot and you just want to play around, I like F1 because it's fast. Even with the stock motor that comes with the kit, silver can, it's very fast because it's very lightweight, low friction drag train. There's no real transmission, and it's aerodynamic. It's fast. So I used to play this in the big parking lots in the cinemas of New York when I was still living there in the 90s. And basically it's Tamiya for me because of the realism. There are modern kits, I'll get to that, but in the past it's primarily Tamiya kits, and the racing was primarily Tamiya when you talk about F1. So the kits are just basic. So this is one. So you can see, so simple. There's nothing there. This is the bare chassis. And, build it, race it. Maintaining is simple. You just brush off the dust. Nothing to rebuild. No CVD joints. No camber. All these things with touring cars. The nonsense. This is so simple but fast. The same with this. But this I like, I made the body and I made the full body. So this is up to the ground. This is not paint. This is real, I like it. Yeah, so again, it's the similar chassis. So these two chassis are what we call the Tamiya F103 model. So this is at the era where F1 cars were wide, so it's 200 millimeters wide and relatively short to mimic the full-scale F1. If you notice the blue, this is the 15th anniversary edition of Tamiya. So it's a special chassis, expensive, but it's nice. See the blue. So, and when we raced, you can either go with foam tires or rubber tires. In general, foam tires is much faster. The way you tune F1 is easy. Get the right tires and then put traction compound, whether it's suntan lotion or whatever traction compound you use nowadays. And basically you balance the setup by putting full traction compound rear and maybe 1/3 on the front. And if you need more steering, you put more traction compound Okay, and that's it. That's basically how you tune F1. Yeah, you have springs here, but for me, spring is basically just to keep the tires on the road. It's to absorb the roughness of the surface. It's not, yeah, that's it, significant things that make a difference is weight balance. So where you put weights, how much weight you put is a big tuning aid for F1. Otherwise, that's it. Ride height, if you adjust the ride height, that also has a significant change. And the springs, just make it as soft as you can, because these are lightweight cars, so you want it to be soft and absorb the shock, right? Okay, so that's it for the F103. So for me, when I raced F1, this is my favorite class. Foam tire, 200 millimeter wide F103 racing with no gyro, please. I know some races allow gyro, but come on, no gyro, please. I never raced with a gyro. That's for drifting, not for racing, right? All right. Okay, so this was the fastest for me. Foam tire, okay. 2 wide F1 cars. But what happened was around 2010, real F1 changed. So the cars became narrower and longer. And hence, even the RC cars had to be the same. So they are now narrower and longer. Okay, so this is now my F104. It's an old chassis around 2011. This chassis won the Singapore, came second in Singapore. The body won the concourse, because look at that. It's unusual. I know purist would like real looking F1. So don't worry, guys. Don't hate on me too much. I can appreciate the purity of F1 car. So I think this one, if you look at this should be pure enough for you, right? Let me just put it on properly. All right. So this is pure, real. But there's a problem. I've been to races where there's like 5 Ferraris in a field of 10, and they all look the same. It's hard to race like that, right? You will have difficulty figure out which one is your car, especially if you crash in the first corner and all the cars look the same. How are you going to know which one is yours? But no one has this, right? So I know my car. Okay, so yeah, it's a Alienware fire-breathing metallic theme. I even had the skull head here. But for racing, I put the lightweight helmet. All right, so let's take a look at the F104. So they changed the design. Of course, the battery now had to go this way for most part. It's narrower. The body is also narrower, so it's cramped. It's hard to place electronics, but after hours of figuring it out, yeah, you can squeeze it in there decently. Well, if you see, this is the motor, ESC, shorty pack, steering servo, and receiver, weights. So I put a lot of weights here. Mainly if the track is low grip and rubber tires, additional weights helps. But as the grip goes higher, you can remove the weights. So weights is really the main way to tune F1. It's a big effect, apart from tires. Second to tires. Alright, so yeah, here it is. Now, I'm going to start racing F1 again. So I haven't done so in a long time. And so this one weighs in at a hefty 1,300 grams. It's almost as heavy as my touring cars. But I'm rusty. So I need a car that just has lots of grip. I can always take away the weights, right? If I feel it's already too planted, I'll just take away weights. But typically, I think they will, eventually it should do well around 1,000 to 1,200. 1,000 to 1,100 grams might be the right weight for an F1 on a good grip track. All right, so how to set up? My methodology or philosophy is understeer car in a rear-wheel drive. So my car has a tendency to not steer into a corner. Why? Because it suits my driving style. Because I use the brakes a lot. So my car is set up to turn with braking, trail braking. Okay? And then, because it's understeer in setup, at the middle of the apex, after trail braking, I can really get on the gas without spinning out. And for me, that's my secret. I know my competitors, they don't like it. What they want to do is they don't want to brake. They're afraid to spin the rear. And then they set up the front to have lots of grip. So the car will turn without braking. But that's too slow, my friends. See, that setup is too slow, my friends. You need to, if you cannot brake an F1 car properly, you're too slow, my friend. Even though your car might feel like a touring car, it turns, it has so much grip, it turns, it doesn't slide. That is still too slow. That cornering is too slow. Yeah. Trail braking on a rear wheel, it's like I go in and out of the corner in one movement. It's so fast. It's like, wow. So I remember one time there's a competitor that really wanted to beat me so bad, but never happened. It never happened for him. And we swapped cars. So I drove his car. It had so much steering that I did not have to brake. I could turn the car into a corner. It would follow the line properly. It handled well. So it turned with no braking, with good speed. And then he drove my car, and after one lap, he gave up. He said, it doesn't turn. He couldn't make one corner. The car was like, just go straight. He didn't know how to make it turn. Right? But the thing is, if your car has too much grip, that scrubs speed. You lose speed when you have too much stickiness in your tires, right? Stickiness, it sticks to the road too much. It doesn't flow through the corner. Mine flows with speed, does not lose momentum. Whereas a sticky car, while it might seem to carve the line, it loses speed. All right, so that's the secret for me, and for my driving style. But you really need to learn how to do trail braking. But it's a combination, so you have to have a philosophy. So if you're going to believe trail braking is the best, you need to set up understeer so you can do the trail braking without spinning out. Then you have to adjust your brakes, practice, make sure that you can brake properly. Setup is not only cornering or throttle. You need to spend a lot of time setting up the brakes as well. How much brake you set on your transmitter, how much droop you have so that weight doesn't transfer too much to the front. So those are the things. You have to have the setup as well to allow you to brake properly. So it's really understeer. I can brake. It will not spin out. And once I get to the apex, the car points in the right direction. And I can just punch it because my wheel, as it turns, the front wheel is straight. And I can gas it. And it will not spin out. All right? All right, so that's my secret, guys. Hope it works for you. But the thing is with secrets, we can share it. It's the execution that's the hard part. So you know how I do it. It's hard to do it. So I don't mind sharing it. Okay, wait. Time check. Oh man, I've been talking for 20 minutes again. All right, so I think time to wrap this up for now. So what to buy? So if you're just into scale looks, playing around, Tamiya is best. If you're want to race and there's Tamiya racing in your area, Tamiya as well. But nowadays, if you're going to race the 21.5 Blinky class, international F1 racing, I think you might need to buy the more advanced racing kits from X-Ray, Serpent, and so on. Tamiya also has an advanced kit for racing those classes. So there. For fun, again, you might want, and cheap, you might want the Sakura FGX. I have that car. It's very fun to drive. Among all my F1s, it's the most realistic chassis to drive. It has full suspension front and rear. This is what you call direct drive transmission, but it's not independent. You see, it's linked. Whereas the FGX has a independent suspension like touring cars. It has a gear diff. The only weakness of the FGX was against this car was the drivetrain caused drag, and it was heavier. Hence, yeah, it was not as fast as these cars, but it was very fun to drive. But maybe if it's for high power motor racing and high grip or low grip, I should say, it would be faster than these cars. Okay, I think it can be, but I've never had that scenario. How much power can you put here? All right, so in I think when my daughter succeeded me in becoming F1 champion in our Tamiya Cup, yeah, I got bored racing, so I just mentored my daughter, and she took over the winning of F1. Keep it in the family. We were racing. The rule was open electronics. That means there is no motor limit. So you can run any motor you want, 4.5 turn, but we found that the most controllable balance of control and speed for the track we raced in was a 13.5 boosted motor on rubber tires. The rule was rubber tires, and so even rubber tires we can run. So it's this something like this rubber. We put a 13.5 boosted motor in. It was controllable, so she won 10 out of 14 races to become champion in, I think, 2015. All right, so keep it in the family, My daughter, yeah, pretty good at F1 as well. And let me close. In closing, so let me see. I also organized F1 races. So if you look at my past videos, you will see I did. So I like this. I don't know if you can read it. So it's a plaque of recognition because I was a race director for 1 year. 1 year race director. I organized so many F1 races, around 18 F1 races. And yeah, thank you guys for appreciating my efforts in making F1 fun. That was the time, I believe, we held the record for having a 25 car grid to start the race. So at the start of the race, we had 25 cars racing simultaneously, like a full-scale F1 race. That was my dream, and the dream became a reality. So I thank everyone who joined my F1 club races back in 2012. And I think at the end of the year, the winners, I gave them 7-foot-tall trophies. I gave away 6 7-foot-tall trophies that year. I mean, if you're going to race 18 times, you deserve a big trophy, right? Right? Yeah. None of that small, none of these medals or insy-wincy trophies. Give them real trophies. Yeah. Okay. All right, guys, I think I've reached my 20-minute mark. I'm talking for 25 minutes. But I really love F1. It brings me good memories. It's my favorite electric on-road class. And yeah, out of 10, I would give F1 cars a rating of 9. in terms of fun, racing enthusiasm, maintenance, price is cheap. Ah, yeah, I like F1. I give it a 9. 10 is reserved for something else, and I will tell you what 10 is in my future video. So if you like to know more about F1, I will put links in the description or in the comment about my past F1 videos, so you can just get excited about joining an F1 race or just playing around. I have quite a few F1 videos on my channel dating back 2012. So just please take a look. I'll put it in the links if you cannot find them, and enjoy F1, guys. All right, so look at this. The sun is out. I have to go. It's 10 a.m., 10:30. I have to pick up my son from school and do some other stuff. Enough RC talk for the day. Yeah, so yeah, this table's full of good memories. I'll keep it for today. All right, so thank you guys, my fellow RC addicts. Let's play RC cars. Let's have fun. So if you like this video, again, the thumbs up, give a like, subscribe, leave a comment, or ask me a question about F1. I'm not the world champ, but I'm pretty good at winning F1 races. In the past. Now I'm good at coaching. I coach my daughter to become the champ, to succeed me. So I can coach. Okay. Thank you, and rccartips signing off for today. Have a nice day, everyone. Thank you.